It's Friday night. Do you know where your VCR is? Stay tuned. We're going to look over the tapes that are worth money and the ones you should toss. Coming up on Friday Night BOLO on ChaChingShow. It is that time, boys and girls. It is time for Friday Night BOLO. It's Friday night, so I got another BOLO for you. Now, this one is probably known by many resellers, or maybe not. I know a lot of resellers have a lot of confusion over what's worth money and what's not when it comes to VHS tapes. Now, what you're going to want to figure out is why are VHS tapes valuable and why others aren't. Here's a simple thing about it, okay? The reason a VHS tape, generally speaking, is worth money is one, it has an audience, somebody that wants to watch it, and two, it is not available on DVD. There are a lot of movies, a lot of really crappy movies, a lot of actually pretty good movies that were never put on to DVD. Now, you're not going to want to look for your mainstream DVDs, you know, your Mission Impossible, your Star Wars in general. There are some versions of it that are valuable. But generally speaking, you want to stay away from your big blockbuster, big budget movies because they have, I guarantee, been put on DVD. Now, when it comes to buying VHS, you're going to want to stick to a couple of categories, okay? And that's going to be pretty simple. One, horror. Your blood, your gore, your nasties, okay? That stuff sells. Most of this stuff is campy. A lot of it's low budget. A lot of it's never been put on to DVD. I can give you some examples here. City in Panic. I just picked this guy up the other day from either the Way and Pay or the local Goodwill. I can't recall. I think my local Goodwill charges a crazy 59 cents a tape. It's in there. You can see how high budget it is. I mean, look at that. See the blood? Typically, when you look at the back of a VHS movie and you see that, you know you're onto something good. I was able to scan this, but it didn't show up. Now, a lot of resellers, I hate to say this, especially when I go to like places like the Way and Pay, you know, the bins, Goodwill outlet, I'll see a lot of people just load their carts up with VHS, DVD, books, and they'll scan it, and nothing shows up. They toss it. They don't even bother. I can tell you right now, by the looks of this, this was probably never put on DVD, and I was correct. I scanned it, nothing came up. I just put in City in Panic, VHS, and guess what? They go for like 20, 25 bucks all day long. Easy score. So you may have to put these in manually, okay? There's a lot of horror, like I said. Look for low budget. Look for stuff you've never seen before. I've seen a lot of movies. I'm a big fan of movies and cinema and all that. And whenever I see a movie that I've never seen before, I will, I'll check it out. I'll scan it. I'll look it up. And that's the way you want to do it. Another category you're going to want to look for. I don't have many in stock. I only have one right now because they sell so quickly. Wrestling DVDs, especially ones from the 80s. Some of the ones from 90s. What you're going to want to look for is you're going to want to look for two major imprints. Okay, that's going to be your WCW and your WWF. They're no longer around anymore. Okay, their stuff was in general never put onto DVD. They were all, both of those were absorbed into the what's it called? I don't watch wrestling. WWE. So, like, for example, this one here, this is from the late 90s, WrestleMania, exclusive pay-per-view, 10 bucks, real easy, I don't even have to think about it, but they can go into the hundreds. I have seen Old, old WWF stuff from the 80s go for $150, $200. No joke. No joke at all. Another thing you can look for, let me grab them here, is another genre is music. Stuff that was never put onto DVD, especially classic rock, metal, stuff like that. Some of these may have been, this is my old death pile. This may be on DVD. I don't think it is, though. Okay. What else we got here? We got some Metallica. I think this was put onto DVD, so that one's probably like $5. And you got some weird ones. You got this is a Russian film score by whoever that is. Never put on DVD. As far as I know, I don't believe this one was. But yeah, just look for the obscure stuff, you know, especially Seal's old stuff. Here we got Liberace. That was never put on a DVD. Liberace. That's right. What else do we got here? Like I said, sometimes the worse the art is on the box, the more valuable it is. It's not always true, but look for stuff like this. I mean, look how bad that art is. Look how grainy that was. I mean, that's just fantastic. Actually, I love that. That's funny. For some reason, that's funny to me. I don't know why. But, you know, look for, like I said, look for stuff never put on DVD. Stuff especially sports related that was never put on DVD for one reason or another. Another thing you can look for is old classic sci-fi. This is supposed to be dubbed in English, but they didn't dub this one. So that's kind of cool. Old Godzilla. Generally, a lot of the Godzilla stuff was never put on, or was put onto DVD. But what you can do is, if you go after one genre especially, you can, if they don't sell for you by themselves, look at that. I mean, come on. That's cool. Old sci-fi. But, you know, if for one reason or another you can't sell them, lot them together and put a price on them or start the bid. You know, that's one thing I do is if I can't sell them at my buy it now price over a period of 2 cycles, I'll just lot them together, put them on 99 cents plus $8 shipping, and let the bids fly. A lot of times that's the way you got to do it, especially if it's going to be lower grade, you know, VHS that doesn't sell for a lot. I try to stay away from that stuff, but you can't always do it. Sometimes it sucks you in. It's too cool. You got to buy it. So that's one way you can liquidate some of your old stock. Now, this next subject I want to explain as best as I can, especially to the new sellers out there, that there's a lot of confusion when it comes to this, and that is the old Disney clamshell movies. You might know them under the Black Diamond series or the classics. And if you go onto eBay and you look at solds, you will see that these VHS movies have sold for $500, $1,000, $1,500, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, $50,000 flipping dollars. And there are a lot of new sellers that will see this, and they will flip their crap, and they'll go out and they'll buy a bunch of Black Diamond VHS tapes, only to find out they really can't sell them much for anything. Nobody knows the exact where this exactly originated from, this whole Black Diamond myth. I've seen it in places that boggle the mind. I've seen it in newspaper articles. There's a bunch of internet articles from well-reputable news outlets. I even saw it on a national news broadcast once. I can't recall what it was. I don't know if it was NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox. I don't know. It was one of their nightly news things, and I just couldn't believe it. There are two reasons why you see some of these crazy prices. A lot of people believe that in some of these deals, especially the $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 for a VHS tape, is simple money laundering, drug money laundering done on eBay. That's never been proven, but it's a valid possible scenario of why this is going on. And then the other one is just simple hoaxsters, people from 4chan, stuff like that. They'll sell it to a buddy and they'll immediately cancel it, but it will still show up as sold for $50,000, $100,000, crazy stuff like that. There is no value in Black Diamond VHS tapes, none at all, zero. There are some. If you get a Beauty and the Beast, brand new, sealed from the 90s, you might flip it for $10. Okay, that's it. There are a couple of titles though, Disney, that you want to look for. Primarily, the big one you want to look for, and I've flipped it 4 or 5 times, is Song of the South. It was put out by Disney the 50s, 40s, something like that. I can't remember, a long time ago. A lot of people use the term banned. It wasn't actually banned in America. The government didn't ban it. Disney didn't ban it. They just didn't produce it. Onto DVD. A very, very limited number were put onto VHS, and then there was protests. If you don't know what it's about, look up Song of the South. There's a black stereotype slave in it, slave master. It's very politically incorrect to some people. Some people say it's a great movie. But if you can find Song of the South, you can flip that for, easy $30 to $50, depending on the condition. If it's in perfect sealed shape, I've seen them go for $100, $150. Legit. And then other one-offs from Disney, like I think Stranger Danger, or I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called. Something Stranger Danger. They sell for $10, $15, $20, $25, depending on the shape. There's some other ones that were never put on DVD. I think Lucky Luke, look for that. Just look up Disney VHS. Just when you're searching eBay, just stay away from the Black Diamonds, and you can pretty much figure out what sells and what doesn't sell. So just be on the lookout for that stuff. And other stuff, like if you went to Disney World, sometimes they have limited edition, like let's say you went in 1987 VHS, The Wonderful World of Disney. People like that. Okay, so that's what you want to be on the lookout. Black Diamond is BS. Don't fall for it. And finally, and I'm going to save you a lot of time, this is how I do it. You can do it how you like. I don't test my VHS tapes. I take them out. I make sure the actual black cassette, or sometimes they're white or in a different color, matches the title on the cover. And then I flip the little panel up to make sure the film is continuous. Flip it down, list it. I don't test. I list hundreds of DVDs. I would die of old age if I tested every single VHS tape I have ever listed. I do, however, and this is just me, I like to add a little bit of extra to everything I send. I rewind them. I use a little tabletop rewinder. I don't have it in this room, it's in the other room, but you've probably seen them at like the video rental stores. It's a standalone rewinder. Or you could use a VCR if you wanted to do that. I just like to rewind them before I send them. It just kind of adds a little extra, in my opinion. So that's the basic primer on VHS. Remember, horror, blood, and gore sells, especially if it's never put on DVD. Wrestling sells. One-offs sell. Rare, crappy movies typically sell if they're never put on DVD. And watch out for Black Diamond. It's BS. Don't fall for it. I appreciate you guys watching. If you got anything from this, please consider subscribing. Stay tuned next week. We got 2 or 3 good ride-alongs, and I have a really good tip on how to repair hats. Stay tuned for that. So thanks for watching. We'll see you later.